After going through the Indus Valley civilization most important points, let us see the next topic, the Vedic period. The Vedic period. This will be our history and culture of India, part 2 for today, second lecture. Now let us discuss the term Veda. The term Veda. The term Veda refers to sacred knowledge found in the writings referred to as Vedic culture or Vedic literature. Vedic literature. The term Veda refers to the sacred knowledge found in the writings referred as Vedic literature. So you might get a question, why the Vedic literature is called as Vedic literature? Because of the term Veda. Okay. The Vedic literature consists of majorly texts, that is mantras and brahmanas. Consists of texts, majorly consists of mantras and brahmanas. The four distinct collections that make up the mantra category are the core of the Vedic writings. The core Vedic writings. The mantra. We have these mantra and brahmanas. What are brahmanas? What are brahmanas? Brahmanas are prose texts. We have poetry as well as prose. Now when we have poetry, we call it as mantras, and when it is prose, we call it as brahmanas. When it is prose, we call it as brahmanas.
Prose means
Subjective. We have in our English, we learn in our 10th class, poetry and prose,
paragraph.
paragraphs, subjective stories. We have the brahmanas are prose texts containing the explanation of mantras as well as sacrificial rituals. So we have mantras and we have brahmanas. Brahmanas are the prose text which explains the mantras as well as sacrificial rituals. The four Vedas together with the brahmanas are called as Shruti. Are called as Shrutis. What are Shrutis? The four Vedas together collectively with their brahmanas, with their explanations, known as Shruti. Shruti means hearing. Shruti means hearing that which was directly heard by the sages. So, what are the sages? Sages are the munshis. Sages are the rishis, which they heard directly. They are called as Shrutis. Now we have Aranyakas. What are Aranyakas? Aranyakas are literally forest treatises which are written in forests. And the Upanishads. Upanishad means sitting down beside and hearing what the sages say are called as Upanishads. Are mainly appendices to the Brahmanas. So we have understood today what are Brahmanas. The Vedas are categorized into two types, one is mantras and one is the Brahmanas. Brahmanas are the prose which are explanation of the mantras. Upanishads are also known as Vedantas. Vedanta means Ved plus An. When we combine these two words, Ved plus An, we get a term called Vedanta, which is end of the Veda, which contains philosophical discussions. They explore nature's mysteries, why the universe, the creation and the creator, which even today it is a question. There are mysteries, nature's mysteries. So we have
How old is the Veda?
Veda.
How many years old?
It is the most oldest one after the Indus Valley civilization.
3000 years.
3000 years you can say. So we have this Vedas, the scriptures we have in our museum. When you go to the Villa Planetarium, when you go to the historical section, you will find the scriptures which are written there. You will find the manuscript there. There are all it is written there. So after discussing the term Veda and the collection we find in the Vedas, let us come to the Rigvedic society. The Rig Vedic society, Rig Vedic time has been divided into or classified into early Vedic period and the later Vedic period. Let us understand the Rig Vedic society. Now we have already understood the Indus Valley civilization. What was the nature of society of Indus Valley civilization?
Peaceful.
It was peaceful and it was matriarchal or patriarchal. The Indus Valley civilization was matriarchal, remember. Why? Because we find the mother goddess there. We find the mother goddess. So we find the Indus Valley civilization as the society as matriarchal. When we come to the Rig Vedic period, there is a transition. Rig Vedic society was patriarchal, where a male is the head. Male is the karta, the prominent person at the top, decision maker is male in Rig Vedic period. But in Indus Valley civilization, we had woman as the top head who takes decisions. Then the basic unit of society was family. The basic unit of the Rig Vedic society was family, which was called as Graham. Graham. The head of the family was known as Grahapati. The head of the family was known as Grahapati. Monogamy was generally practiced, while polygamy was prevalent among royal and noble families. Monogamy means one marriage. Mono means one. Gamy means marriage. Monogamy. Even the polygamy was also practiced, but in the royal and noble families. Women were given equal opportunities. Please remember, we are talking about the early Vedic period. When we go to the later Vedic period, the society got corrupted. In early Vedic period, women were given equal opportunities as men for the spiritual and intellectual development. Now, this point we can refer to the today's constitution. Article 14 says equality before law. So, this point is we can refer it to the there at that point of time when we were given equal opportunities. There was no discrimination based on the gender for the spiritual and intellectual development. Women could even attend the popular assemblies. There was no bar on attendance of women. In addition to the absence of sati, there was no child marriage. So this is what you can say. This is the question of debate whether the sati existed or not. Please remember, even in the Rig Vedic period, even in the Indus Valley civilization, even in the Rig Vedic period, there was a symbolic sati. Whenever the husband expired, the wife used to go in a very similar manner, and after that, she used to return in the home just to experience the pain. To showcase the pain, the woman used to act in that way so that she also got expired. But once the cremation is done, once the last rituals is done, the woman used to come back. The wife used to come back. So in the Rig Vedic period, the symbolic sati used to be existed. They used to have symbolic sati, but not in practice. Please remember. Then you have, please write it down. So by this we have discussed the term Veda and the Rig Vedic society. Next, let us understand some of the characteristics of later Vedic period. Now, when we come to the later Vedic period, we find larger kingdoms. Remember, Indus Valley civilization economy was urban. Rig Vedic economy was rural. But slowly, when we come to the later Vedic period, the economy also changed. There was iron was discovered. Because of the iron was discovered, more. Yes.
In that period also.
Indus Valley civilization, we do not find iron. I have been repeating many times. Indus Valley civilization, we do not find iron. From which we infer that it was a peaceful society. Today, when we come to the later Vedic period, we find larger kingdoms. Why we find larger kingdoms? Because of discovery of iron. And when we discover the iron, their tools are there. and we have weapons. And when we have weapons, a person can increase its fear, right? So what the discovery of the iron elements played a major role in establishing larger kingdoms. Many Jana or tribes were amalgamated to form Janapadas or Rashtras in the later Vedic period. So we have Mahajanapadas. So how many we have? We have Mahajanapadas, and from Mahajanapadas, larger kingdoms were formed. The royal power had increased with the increase in the size of kingdom. So when you come to the chronology of the kingdom in the later Vedic period, who was the first kingdom we found in the Bihar?
Mahamani.
Nandas. We found Nandas. After Nandas, we find Ashoka belonged to which dynasty? The father of Ashoka, the grandfather of Ashoka, Chandragupta. We have Mauryan dynasty. Then we have Nandas. We have Mauryan dynasty. Then after Mauryans, we find there are many small. I'm not taking all the names. The three major names: Nandas. Nandas were defeated by Mauryas. Then after Mauryas decline, we have Guptas in the ancient times. The major increase in the kingdom because of the implementation of iron. Royal power increased with the increase in the size of the kingdom. The king performed various rituals and sacrifices. Ashwamedha ritual we find. We have Rajasuya. We have the major is Rajasuya. Rajasuya is a consecration ceremony. Then we have Ashwamedha. Ashwamedha is a horse sacrifice. And Vajapaya is a chariot race. So please remember, this might come in your choose the correct answer. We find the Rajasuya consecration ceremony. Then we find Ashwamedha, that is a horse sacrifice. Then we find Vajapaya, the chariot race. Please remember this and try to highlight this. The king assumed titles like Raja Vamshajanam, Abhirasha, Bhuvanapati, Lord of all earths. You might get these titles at one point and match up calling on the other side. Lord of all the earth, Ekrat and Samrat, sole ruler, Samrat Ashoka. We find the title Samrat Ashoka, which means sole ruler, one and only one ruler. At the lower levels of the administration, there were village assemblies. Then the importance of Samiti and Sabha diminished during the later Vedic. In the early Vedic period, today we have panchayats. In the early Vedic period, they used to have sabhas and samitis, where all the women were allowed to come and explain them. Their attendance was not barred, and whenever there used to be disputes, the disputes used to be settled through the sabhas and samitis. But that mode of dispute resolution got diminished in the later Vedic period. The office of the Raja or the chief was not based solely on birth, but the choice of Raja were restricted to Kshatriyas. Please remember, the office of Raja or chief was not based on birth, but the choice of Raja was restricted to Kshatriyas. In the later Vedic period, the caste system, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, it got concreted. Watertight arrangement happened in the later Vedic. But the Raja used to be from the Kshatriya category, that is a pioneer category. Next. Now, as we have mentioned, there was Mahajanapadas.
So when did this caste system evolve?
The caste system got emerged from the Vedic period itself. Slowly it got corrupted.
It is mentioned in the Vedas.
Yes, it is mentioned in the Vedas. First it was based on profession.
Okay.
First it was based on profession. What profession, what occupation do you do? But when the time went away, it got corrupted. Right? Next. Type of questions. Now we get the questions on Mahajanapadas. So how many Mahajanapadas we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You might get a question. In the Vedic period, we find the Mahajanapadas. How many Mahajanapadas we had? We have 12 Mahajanapadas.
Only.
We have 12 Mahajanapadas. Now your homework will be, who are listening to this lecture, take the map and find out the locations of 12 Mahajanapadas. Okay. Please put it on the Google पे देखिए Mahajanapadas location HD quality and put it in the our group. We have in this Telangana region, which Mahajanapada we have. You might get a question in the group. Which Mahajanapada existed north of the South India? South India में कौन सा Mahajanapada exist करता था time पे? Today's Nizamabad area is one of the Mahajanapadas. Let us understand the Mahajanapadas with their capitals. Now please, if you are writing it down, you can write it down. Magadha, Kosala, Vatsa, Avanti, Gandhar, Kuru, Panchala, Matsya, Chedi, Kashi, Anga, and Saurasena. These are the 12 Mahajanapadas. Let us discuss the capitals of the Mahajanapadas. For Magadha Mahajanapada, Rajagriha was the capital. For Magadha Janapada, what is the capital? Rajagriha. For Koshala, what is the capital? Sravasti. For Koshala it was Sravasti. Vatsa, we have Kausambi. For Avanti, we have Ujjain. For Gandhar, Takshila was the capital. For Kuru Mahajanapada, Indraprastha. Today's Delhi region is called Indraprastha. Panchala Mahajanapada, we have Kampilia. For Matsya Mahajanapada, we have Viratnagar as the capital. For Chedi Mahajanapada, we have Sotivati as the capital. For Kashi Mahajanapada, we have Kashi capital. For Anga, we have capital as Champa. And for Saurasena, we have capital Mathura. In present day, Mathura is in which state of India in present day? So this you might get a question. Champa, there will be Champa is the capital. You will find the Mahajanapadas as per their names. Champa is the capital of which Mahajanapada? Anga. Okay. You will find Anga. Magadha, Rajagriha. I am repeating the Mahajanapadas with their capitals. Magadha, Rajagriha, Koshala, Sravasti, Vatsa, Kausambi, Avanti, Ujjain, Gandhar, Takshila, Kuru, Indraprastha, Panchala, Kampilia, Matsya, Viratnagar, Chedi, Sotivati, Kashi, we have the same Kashi, Anga, Champa, Saurasena, we have Mathura. We have only one Mahajanapada in the south. Only one Mahajanapada in the south. Find it out. And in the Telangana region itself. Next, let us understand the society of Rigvedic society. We have already discussed the Rigvedic society was patriarchal, where a male used to be the head, and the family is basic unit of family is Graham. There was equal opportunities for all women and women in the spiritual and intellectual capacities.
So you only 16 Mahajanapadas wrong.
There are 16. I have most important are 12. Most important are 12. There are 16 Mahajanapadas. In the south. Yes. We have 16 Mahajanapadas are most important. We have discussed here 12. Then we have Rigvedic society. As we say that there was equal opportunities to men and women, let us discuss or let us know the names of the prominent women there at that point of time. Apala, Vishwavara, these are all poets. They are women poets. Apala, Vishwavara, Ghosha, Lopamudra. These are the prominent women poets which emerged during this point of time.
Mudra means that.
Mudra means position. Notably, women had freedom to attend popular assemblies. So you might get a question, which of the following women poets played a prominent role? ये नाम याद रहना, आपला, विश्ववारा, घोषा, लोकमुद्रा, and others. So by this we have discussed the Vedic period, later Vedic period, society of the Vedic period, and in the next coming lectures we are going to discuss about the most important part, the two major sects or the religions we can say today, the Jainism and Buddhism. So by this I complete this part 2 of today's lecture, which we discussed Veda, which we have discussed the Rigvedic society, we have discussed the later Vedic society, and we have discussed the Mahajanapadas. In total we have 16 Mahajanapadas. Most important 12 we have done. So by this we complete our part 2 lecture, and the next lecture we are going to discuss about the Jaina and Buddhism. Okay, so we conclude this lecture.